Hello, BookTube. I thought I would do something cool today and give you a reading list, some recommendations, because I've been seeing a lot of light reading, easy reads, and I thought, why not make a classics edition of that? Because everyone wants to try classics and everything, and I've got a big wall of classics behind me, and that means I automatically know what I'm talking about. And so I thought I'd come up with a list of like I don't even know how many, probably I don't even know how many. I didn't count them. And I thought I would just talk about some of these easy, fun, light reading classics that you can, take camping with you, that you can read it, by the pool or by the fire, or read it with, a significant other or someone like that. And so I have a big list here, and let's start. So fun, easy, light reading classics. So let's see what we have here. The first one I would recommend is The Divine Comedy by Dante. Here is Dante right here. As you can see, he's got like a dark green, I would only assume, full bodysuit going on, covered by a red robe, with some very cool shoes, and which matches the wreath on his hat, which is pretty cool. And he's showing you what he's reading, probably, as you see all that going on behind him. But let's talk about you can do all of these books in literally an afternoon. Like, I believe in you, which means you can do it. And so yeah, so we're going to be talking about Inferno, because everyone, you don't need to read the rest. I haven't read the rest either. But the reason I say The Divine Comedy is a light read is because it's a journey, which automatically makes it fun. And you just get to see a lot of fun, wild stuff that you wouldn't expect, that you don't see in a lot of adventure novels, especially after this, because this Dante was, something was in the water probably when he created this, because it does get a bit wild, but in a way that's easy and light and fun to read. Don't worry about all the references and all that. And so yeah, another fun thing if you want to do when you're reading Inferno is to figure out what circle of hell you will be in. So for those who want to know, I would be in circle 7, layer 3, which means I'd be laid on my back, and rain, fire would fall from the sky or whatever and just burn me for eternity. So that's pretty cool. And so yeah, some light fun reading. You can do all of The Divine Comedy in like a lovely afternoon read. Read it with whoever. And so yeah, so that's the first book we have, is The Divine Comedy. Some lovely fun adventure reading if you want something a bit more fun, and if you get the references too, that makes it even funner. So yeah, next we have the New Testament by William Tyndale here. This is his translation of the New Testament, sorry. This is from 1526, and I'll show you what it looks like here. It looks a bit like this, which may seem a bit hard and difficult to read, especially the spelling and all that, but you'll absolutely fly through this, because I believe that you can read this. And yeah, you know the story of the New Testament, Jesus and all that, so it will already be familiar. And Tyndale has such a way with words. You would have wished he lived longer, it wasn't killed, so he could finish translating all of the Old Testament too. But this is light reading because you already know the story. All you'd have to do is just really learn the ways of older English, and you'll just fly through this book. And it just makes a fun little challenge. So yeah, we have the New Testament, Tyndale's translation only. So yeah, we have that. And then we're jumping around in time a bit, because the next book, our first non-fiction entry into this list so far, and this is The Descent of Man by Charles Darwin. Now, you may think, I haven't read Voyage on Beagle, I haven't read what's the other one? On the Origin of Species. You don't need those, just don't read them. You only need The Descent of Man. Take this to a poolside, to a spa, and you'll just be transported into the mind of one of the greatest thinkers ever, really. It has some drawings in here too of bugs, which means that it's not just a wall-to-wall text, so it's an easier read automatically. And Charles Darwin was such a he was a really fun writer, I feel like. Very easy to read, and you'll just fly through The Descent of Man in like a good I don't want to say half hour. You'll just fly through this book. And so, yeah, we have our first non-fiction pick, The Descent of Man by Charles Darwin. And if you like The Descent of Man, you can go back and do his backlog of like Species and all these other non-fiction books. But yeah, I'm going to recommend The Descent of Man as an easy, light, read. So you have that there. Then we have another a big famous book here. It is a bit smaller than the other books I've talked about so far, and that is a slim book called Laymiz. I can't say because I'm not French. I can't pronounce French. But this is by Victor Hugo, of course, our king. And as you can see, it's a bit light, on the lighter side. You could get through this in like a solid afternoon. Hugo will just transport you away to Paris at some point in the past. The Paris Revolt, I can't remember what year that was. And you'll have a very big, fun, sweeping time in war battles, pretty much. Except that's not why I'm recommending this, because everyone loves the story of Laymiz, right? But I think you will get swept up in Hugo's non-fiction parts of this book, where he talks about the history of a bishop's chair, some of the architecture in Paris at the time, or even the buildings and the constructions of the sewer systems in Paris too, which a light reading. When he starts using slang that you don't know anything about, then he drops it and picks it up 100 pages later and expects you to remember it. That's some lovely light reading. You'll just fly through it. You don't need notes for Les Mis, so that's another thing. And yeah, I love Les Mis. It's not, I don't mind Les Mis. I was going to put The Hunchback of Notre Dame or Hugo's Poetry, because that's, to be honest, a bit of a better read. But Les Mis, you'll just fly through. It's a very lovely pick for a read. So we have that, and then we're sticking to some more smaller books here in terms of page counts. And this is one I haven't read yet, and I'm just going off what people say about this book, and that is Clarissa by Samuel Richardson. Again, another very, very light read. I just assume it is because it's an epistolary novel, which means that it's told through letters. That's what you all know about the novel. I have read some Richardson, so I do have some authority. I've read Pamela, and again, that is a more smaller book, if you could believe that. But I'm going to recommend Clarissa because letters are easy to read, and so this book I assume would be easy to read. So we're going on a bit of a pick here, but yeah, Clarissa, you could do that in like, oh my god, like an hour at most. It's like reading Animal Farm at that point. It's just that small. And so yeah, so that's another one. And we'll keep on going to some poetry again, because poetry is a lovely thing to read. It's light, it can be fun. And what's lighter and fun, and also a bit of more of a slim recommendation compared to, I know if you can imagine some of the books we've been talking about today, but I'm going to say another light read is The Fairy Queen by Edmund Spenser here. What do you want me to say? If you can do Tyndale, if you're like Andrew, I made my way through Tyndale in like an hour and a half at most, and I had such a fun blast, and I want more light reading from the English Renaissance. I'm going to say pick up The Fairy Queen. I'll show you what it looks like, because look how big this font is right here. And yes, this slim book is only just over 1,000 short pages, but you'll fly through this because it's not sentence structured, so it's easier to read, just I assume. I am due to reread The Fairy Queen, so if you want to reread it with me or buddy read it with me, let me know and I'll happily join. I love The Fairy Queen. And again, another light read. Take this to your son's golf game, hockey game, and just read it and be absorbed by the greatness that is Edmund Spenser. So that's another light read. You can take this anywhere, put it in your pocket or in your bag, and you'll just forever have a lovely, fun, light read. So we have that. Then we have the book of Marjorie Kemp. Now this one is a bit bigger in terms of page count than the books I've been talking about for the last little bit. And Marjorie is a diva. I love her so much. For those who don't know Marjorie Kemp, she is pretty much, in English, she has the first ever autobiography memoir. I could be wrong, or some biography or whatever, she does refer to herself. This is written in third person, which makes it automatically funner and easier to read, but she refers to herself as the creature and her travels from to the Holy Land, as she escapes her really awful and sad life, and the revelation she comes to, and also just the sheer amount of tears this woman sheds in every single page is a landmark of its own. And so I'm going to say the Book of Marjorie Kemp. The only thing I'm a bit hesitant to put this book on the list is because Marjorie is such a sheer force of nature in that she really only does a couple of things in this book. She cries and then talks about how much she loves Jesus and God, and yeah, that's it really. That's her personality, and I love that. I respect it. There are some very chaotic moments in this book that will make you just fly through these pages. Again, this book may take you a bit longer compared to some of the other books I've talked about, but the Book of Marjorie Kemp, it is unhinged, but I absolutely adore this book with all my heart, and so I'm going to recommend the Book of Marjorie Kemp as well for some light reading. We only have 2 more books here. I know we've been going for a bit, but the next one I have is another personal favorite. I've read this multiple times. I have read this book at one point in 2 days, which shows you how light and easy this book is, and that is City of God by St. Augustine. What do you want me to say? It's one of the funnest, lightest books you'll ever read. This is probably one of the last big epics of the ancient Roman Empire, because Augustine lived during the collapse of the Roman Empire, and this is him looking at Rome and trying to interweave Christian thoughts and structure into the Roman world. And it is such a lovely light read. Augustine's thoughts on the Bible just randomly throughout it, and he's just so smart. And it's kind of the same thing with like Darwin, where you may think that, oh, this isn't for me, but you'll fly through City of God once you start. It's one of the greatest books in my opinion, and it's a lovely beginner book too. I know people say with Augustine start with the Confessions or something, but no, don't do that. Do City of God. It better represents Augustine as a writer, and I feel like in a way it's kind of more approachable, because if you can do Augustine's most famous and complex work, surely then after that everything will be easy and even lighter, which is, I don't know how you can get more lighter than City of God, but for me, I just love it so much. I read this book in like 2 days, absolutely devoured it. You can do that too with no context. And so we have City of God there. Then the last book I'm going to recommend for some easy, light readings of classics is the Egyptian Book of the Dead. It's so fun. Again, it's a bit of an adventure novel, because where the soul goes after you die, it's so much funner and creative than Christianity ever was. But what do you want me to say? It's the Egyptian Book of the Dead. You'll fly through this. See, look how little words there are on these pages. There's pictures too, which is cool. And that's all I have to say. It's literally the Book of the Dead. Like, it's fierce. We love it so much. And yeah, so pick up this one too. You could easily finish this in an afternoon. And that is just some light reading recommendations when it comes to classics. I could keep on going, but I thought I don't want to overwhelm at the start. Who knows, this could be a series or whatever. But yeah, let me know what you think are some easy, light reading classics. And yeah, thank you so much for watching BookTube, and I will see you next time.